A majority of voters in Scotland always vote for the United Kingdom. And here's the proof. The SNP will always tell us wrongly that separation is the will of the majority. That's a direct quote from one of the MSPs in the Daily Record today. Well, maybe the SNP is confusing the majority with the number of seats that it wins. For example, it won the most seats of any party at the Holyrood election earlier this year, but it didn't come close to winning the majority of votes. And let's look at that. Here's the figures for this year's election. Now, even if we add all the votes which the SNP took there in the second paragraph, and we add that to all the other votes of all the other separatist parties, it still doesn't come close to being a majority. And in fact, the total votes for the separatists, including the SNP, came to 43% of the total vote on the day. And that compares to a whopping 54% for all the pro-UK parties put together. So there's the reality, Miss Kate Campbell. At the last democratic election in Scotland, 54% of people who bothered to vote voted for the UK, and only 43% voted against. So no, voting for separation is definitely not the will of the majority. Not even close. Not even close. And you know what? The difference is even greater if we look at the British general election in 2024. Let's put up those figures, and we'll see that if we add in the total votes for the separatist parties, including the SNP, there in the second table, we get around 34.5% of the vote on the day. Whereas the total vote for the pro-UK parties, the first table was basically 65% of the vote on the day. So that's 34.5% against the UK and 65% for the UK. That's a crushing majority for the United Kingdom. So SNP, stop lying. Separation is not the will of the majority, and the democratic statistics from the last two elections in Scotland prove that.